Currently, the daughter is been stabilized, but obviously she has super traumatic injuries from shotgun blast to her back and legs. She was trying to get out. She was crawling. It's something you never want to have happen, but obviously the person was a clear and present threat to the officers, the deputy, and the neighborhood, frankly.
Devastating story out of Michigan. A man lost it after he was reading conspiracy theories constantly and went on a murderous rampage of members of his family. So let's go to some more of the details here that happened over the weekend. Oakland County Sheriff, his name is Michael Bouchard, said that the loud bang was the sound of a 53-year-old Igor Lannis shooting and killing his 56-year-old wife, the family dog, and injuring his 25-year-old daughter. It happened around 4:11 a.m. on Sunday morning at the home on Glenwood Drive. The 25-year-old daughter called the police. She was reportedly so distraught she couldn't even tell 911 operators her address, so police had to triangulate her general location. Officials are saying that the young girl was trying to crawl out of the house when the police finally made it inside. The wife had been shot in the back 4 times with a handgun, and the daughter was shot in the back of the legs. It appeared as though they were both trying to leave the house. The dog that Igor also shot was shot multiple times with a shotgun, and neighbors had seen the man walking the dog on a semi-regular basis as well. They said he often walked it. He had a fluffy white dog that we would see often, and the dog was beautiful. So that's kind of how we knew him. The guy with the fluffy white dog is what a neighbor said. So cops were also investigating when they heard another gunshot, and they started to move towards the gunshots, and a man walked out of the home, started shooting at and approaching the officers. So they then used deadly force. The Oakland County Sheriff was talking about this in a press conference along with the local police chief there as well, and they talked about more instances and details of what happened here. Let's watch.
Currently, the daughter is been stabilized, but obviously she has super traumatic injuries from shotgun blast to her back and legs. She was trying to get out. She was crawling. It's something you never want to have happen, but obviously the person was a clear and present threat to the officers, the deputy, and the neighborhood, frankly.
So they went in, killed him as he ran out. There was a Reddit post that started this whole thing, Jessica, where another one of his daughters was talking about how her father was sucked into the QAnon things. Let's read just a couple of moments of that before I get your thoughts on this. This is what she wrote. She says, "Yep, the internet ruined him. Growing up, my parents were extremely loving and happy people. I always had a special bond with both of my parents. And in 2020, after Trump lost, my dad started going down the Q rabbit hole. He kept reading conspiracy theories about the stolen election, Trump, vaccines, etc. He always said he wanted to keep us safe and healthy. It kept getting worse, and he verbally snapped at us a few times. Nothing physical, though. He never got physical with anybody."
The family clearly knows the situation best, and the police officers still like, well, we don't have all of the details on the story. I mean, he could have mentioned the family noticed that he was doing X, Y, and Z. As a member of law enforcement, if you actually care about the well-being of people and fighting crime, maybe you would mention, the family did say that this was likely the cause of this. And we're in scary times where hatred is growing into violence and political extremism that's not based on fact. These conspiracy theories are not true. There's a bunch of more horrifying and more interesting things that describe reality in our country that people just aren't paying attention to. And when I imagine things going bad in our country, where the divisions politically grow into violence, I've never imagined it starting within a home. And I used to lecture on the Rwandan genocide, which is not the same, right? It wasn't exactly political divisions that led to that, but it was people killing their neighbors, killing people close to them that they saw every day. And so it's really scary to think that the kind of political violence that leads to a civil war could really start at home for so many people.
Yeah, last two thoughts. Don't forget, at one point they said he has no history of violence, and also he always wanted to protect his family. Those two things flew right out the window when it came to something like this. Someone who doesn't know who has been grifting and has been robbing people, Donald Trump.